We're talking about being able to align with prosperity and abundance. We're talking about safety in our home, safety in our body, safety in our tribe, in our community. And in today's modern world, we don't get surrounded by safety. We don't get those messages neurologically. Neurologically, we're getting messages that we need to speed up and keep up and compete with the Joneses, and that, we're never really safe. We've got to constantly be in that fight or flight or freeze or, all of those sympathetic driven type responses. Being a modern mystic, we can change all that if we start to focus on the energy center associated with it.
Welcome to the Brain Regen Lab podcast, where ancient healing meets modern science to transform the future of brain health. I'm Dr. Greg Eckel, and after 25 years in the trenches of integrative medicine, I'm here to challenge the status quo. On this show, we dive deep into the most advanced strategies in brain regeneration, cognitive longevity, and bioenergetics with some of the brightest minds in neuroscience, medicine, and performance. Whether you're fighting cognitive decline, optimizing your mental edge, or just curious about what's possible for the human brain and being, this podcast is your lab for discovery, healing, and human potential. So let's push the boundaries of what's possible, revitalize your mind, transform your life. Let's begin. Hello there, everybody. Dr. Greg Eckel here, and our topic today is Chakras Unveiled, the Hidden Path to Body Wisdom, with my guest, Dr. Mary Sanders. She is a wealth of information and has a ton of experience as a self-employed businesswoman and consultant. She's deeply committed to guiding individuals on their journey of personal transformation. She focuses on helping people cultivate thriving health, happiness, and purpose through the powerful tools of energy medicine, spiritual embodiment, and meditation. Dr. Mary hosts the internationally acclaimed podcast, Energy Medicine, which discusses everything related to aligning the mind, the body, and spirit. She earned her doctorate in chiropractic from Logan College of Chiropractic in St. Louis. She completed her certificate in positive psychology from the Whole Being Institute in Lenox, Massachusetts, and studied under Dr. Tai Ben Shahar. In addition, she completed her master's in intuition medicine from the Academy of Intuition Medicine in Sausalito, California, and studied under Dr. Francesca McCartney. Welcome aboard, Dr. Mary.
Thank you, Dr. Greg. It is sincerely my honor to be with you and all the listeners out there. I know you and I are just going to have a juicy and heartfelt conversation that will be enriching for all people.
I love it. And I love that intention and being explicit with it even better. Coming at you from the Energy for Life Centers here in Park City, and you have the Energy Medicine podcast. And I love this topic of Chakras Unveiled, the hidden path to body wisdom. And I'm wondering, what led you on this path? Coming out of chiropractic school, I can see the lineage of innate intelligence and the energy and wisdom of the body, but you're like leading the way with this topic.
Well, I would like to think that I'm leading the way, but sincerely, my intention is to bridge the gap of the science that has been proven with the science that has yet to be proven. And essentially, chiropractic started it all, I want to say. That's when I found my home. That's when I found my tribe. That's when I found the people that were talking about healing from above, down, inside, and out. I want to share with you and with the listeners that I was born hearing impaired and the ability to live in that spiritual realm. So I loved having my hands on people at a very young age, and I knew intuitively that was my purpose here on earth. And so consequently, not everybody had that kind of awakening at 3 years old, but I just knew. And it was one of those things that I knew that I had to desensitize my intuition and desensitize my ability to receive information in a very traditional Catholic upbringing in a traditional Midwestern town. Talking about perception and what you see and feel and hear above and beyond the traditional five senses was not really something that we spoke about, and especially in the early 70s. So when I got to chiropractic school, I was like, yes, people are talking about the body's ability to be able to heal itself. So I followed that path. It's still within my blood. I still have my hands on people, but I can no longer decipher just the physical body from the energetic body. So I'm taking a very integrative approach, looking at the mind, body, and spirit. So when I graduated, not graduated, but after 23 years of being in chiropractic business, my husband and I relocated to Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. I went through a huge identity crisis, had to redefine who I was, what I stood for, and why I was here. And consequently, I got heavy into meditation. Heavy, heavy, heavy into meditation and was experiencing things beyond my intellectual concepts. I just really couldn't understand what was happening. That's what led me to Dr. Tal Ben Shahar. I knew that he was talking about the neuroscience of meditation. I knew that he was going to be able to give me some concrete understanding as to what was happening internally with my meditation practice. So that was my spin into positive psychology. Shortly thereafter, I knew that I had to round it out and better understand the human energetics. That's what prompted me to go to the Academy of Intuition Medicine. And that allowed me to open up my perception, my awareness above and beyond the traditional five senses once again. So now today I get to hold space for others at the medical intuitive, utilizing an integrative approach that combines the mind, body, and spirit.
Wow, that is phenomenal and very powerful. So the component, maybe for our listeners and viewers, of maybe they haven't heard this term before, chakra, the chakra system, and what do you mean by the hidden path to body wisdom?
Sure. And Dr. Greg, let's both be honest with each other and with the listeners. What I am referring to when I talk about the chakra system is not new. It's part of the ancient understanding of the Vedic sciences. So we know that in India, the yogic masters have been working with the nadi system, the energy system, the chakra system for years and years and years. And it runs closely and intimately related to the meridian system that traditional Chinese medicine is its foundation. A chakra is nothing more than a wheel of energy or a vortex of energy. We have 7 main physical energy centers and tons of minor energy centers located throughout our body. And then, one step further outside of our body, we also have energy centers as well. But for the sake of today's conversation, I'd like to talk about how we're using ancient wisdom to be modern mystics, to be able to better understand our physical bodies today. So we can look at an energy center, and I'm going to use the first energy center, chakra number 1, which is located deep within the pelvic bowl. We now know that location in the physical body intimately relates to a nerve plexus, a highway of nerves that exit out of the central nervous system, that exit out of and communicate with the area around the broad triangular bone at the base of the spine and the lumbar plexus. So within the energy coming into the first chakra, it will help activate and stimulate the associated endocrine gland, which is the adrenal gland. And listeners, an endocrine gland is nothing but a hormone producing gland. And specifically, the adrenal system is going to be, you'll recognize some of these chemicals. It's responsible for adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, DHEA, cortisol. All of those things get associated with the adrenal gland, which is intimately connected into the first chakra. So imagine the themes, the energy, the revolving concepts around that first chakra are all about safety, survival, We're talking about being able to align with prosperity and abundance. We're talking about safety in our home, safety in our body, safety in our tribe and in our community. And in today's modern world, we don't get surrounded by safety. We don't get those messages neurologically. Neurologically, we're getting messages that we need to speed up and keep up and compete with the Joneses, and that, we're never really safe. We've got to constantly be in that fight or flight or freeze or, all of those sympathetic driven type responses.
Yeah.
Being a modern mystic, we can change all that if we start to focus on the energy center associated with it.
I love it, and really wanna work through all of them, and I'm wondering, this is ancient technology and understanding that has made it through and withstood the test of time, and, we talk about often, where these light beings being compressed into the central channel and not really being taught how powerful we truly are as human beings and really what the receptor is. And so you're talking about that chakra as the root chakra. You related it to a nerve plexus coming off the spine. And I think each one of them actually has that connection. So I love thinking of it as an energy center for sure. And the symptoms that can be associated with one of these being out of balance, I love it. So I'm just going to lob that over to you.
Well, Dr. Greg, if you and your listeners have already been introduced to the concept of light being compressed into a vertical challenge or a channel or a Sushumna channel, which is what the ancient Vedics would refer to it, all these energy centers are intimately connected with that vertical power current. And you're talking about light emission. And there are colors that are associated with the light spectrum of the frequency of these individual chakras as well. So this is what I love about, and I think that you can appreciate my comment in that you get to interview a lot of people, just like I do, who are in the same industry. And we may be using various different modalities or various different approaches to the human body, but when you boil it all down, we're saying the same thing. We just use different words.
Yeah.
So I love that. That turns me on. That's the foundation as to what it is that we're trying to communicate, that there's more to the human body than what meets the eye. Now, Dr. Greg, you asked, can we just kind of glance through? Can we give a bird's eye view as to what each of the themes are associated with the corresponding chakras? So here's the nitty gritty, 1,000-foot view, simple perspective. First chakra, I already talked about, located deep within the pelvic bowl, is associated with themes about safety and survival. Basic needs associated with the endocrine gland, the adrenal system. The second chakra, located just below the belly button. And just located below there is the second chakra associated with the endocrine glands, the ovaries for women, and the testes for the men, the reproductive hormones. The themes associated with the second chakra revolve around connecting with your greatest desires, creativity. I mean, obviously, creation comes from that place. And
Right.
then you go up within the body, just underneath the rib cage. In the upper abdomen, you have the third chakra, also known as the solar plexus. And that is associated with the enteric system, the nervous system, as it connects into the pancreas. That's the nerve, that's the endocrine gland that's associated with the third chakra. So within that area center, you have themes revolving around autonomy, sovereignty, control, individuality. So that comes from the area of the upper abdomen. Then located in the center of the chest, right behind the sternum, you're going to have the fourth energy center connected with more themes around compassion, love in general, but self-love, love for others, compassion for self, forgiveness. Those are associated with the endocrine gland, the thymus. And Dr. Greg and you and your listeners know that the thymus gland is really active in the first 18 years of life. And then afterwards, it kind of becomes like this dormant, like, what does the thymus really do? That's what it's associated with for the fourth chakra. Then we ascend into the space of the throat. And it just stands to reason because the thyroid is the main organ of the throat. That's the endocrine gland. And we're leaning into theories around authentic expression. It's more than just finding your voice. It's about aligning your actions, thoughts, words in your true divine purpose. Finding your authentic voice. Then, in the space of the forehead, you have the sixth chakra, which is most intimately connected into the pineal gland. The pineal gland is responsible for the production of melatonin, determines your light dark sleep cycles. The pineal, I just love as an endocrine gland. I'm just fascinated by the capabilities of it. But as it relates to the sixth chakra, it allows for you for the opportunity of clear vision, like seeing the truth when you see it in front of you. You see clearly as to what path you should be taking. Located on top of the crown of the head is the seventh chakra, and that points directed up, and that connects you with all the energy that's available to us that's outside of ourselves. And that's most intimately connected into the pituitary gland. And many of you know the pituitary gland is the mother of all regulating hormones. So it kind of governs over the rest of the endocrine system. So many different themes, and that gets associated with the ability to conceptualize abstract thoughts, to not be so judgmental, to not be so black and white. Those are some of the themes, and connecting into the spiritual realm are the themes around the Sabbath.
Hey, it's Dr. Eckel here, just taking a quick moment to say thanks for tuning in to the Brain Regen Lab podcast. If you're enjoying this conversation and want to stay ahead of the latest in brain health, biohacking, and longevity, make sure to subscribe at brainregen.com/podcast. Not only will you never miss an episode, but you'll also get exclusive insights and tools to help you optimize your mind and body. I appreciate you being on this journey with me. Now, let's dive back in and keep unlocking the full potential of your brain and body. I love it. Thank you. That was really succinct and direct. Because a lot of times, people are talking, oh, what are you talking about? Energy centers. But those areas I find, more and more, the one that really resonated for me as you were going through them right now, just this day and age, is that the connection with the pineal of that internal guidance and knowing, right? With all of the dis and miss and mal information and it's madness out there of like, who do I trust? Trust is at an all-time low. And really having people get in touch with that central channel and trust themselves, that answer actually lies within. That inner knowing, that inner guidance, it is so more and more so essential out there of not outsourcing our power to others. If you have dis-ease or maybe you're struggling with neurodegeneration. A lot of folks that tune in here are looking for solutions for their brain health and just for their health in general. As you were going through them, I was like, okay, well, I wanted to talk to you about that one. So
I love what you're talking about, Dr. Greg, with the vertical power current, the Sushumna channel. We know that we have two lines of energy, and I think this is important for the listeners to understand, and that if you're receiving information from above and you literally are connected and you want to direct that energy down for the pathway of manifestation in this physical plane, if your audience and the listeners are striving toward wanting to have a healthier body, if they're wanting to look and to heal neurodegeneration, then opening up that channel, that neural pathway going vertically all the way down, really into Mother Earth, that's where the manifestation happens. And then we can pull the energy from the earth and direct it up through the Sushumna channel, the vertical power current, and out towards the top of our head for the pathway of liberation. So once we get those two channels communicating up and down, there are endless, infinite ways that one can heal themselves.
Hmm. So in your training and in your kind of mentorship and or guidance, how do you get people to tune into these centers?
That's a really good question. And I do it through a process of connecting them into their somatic intelligence. What's the body saying to you?
Mm,
Where in your body do you feel less awareness, less sensitivity? Do you have an area that is hypersensitive and always talks to you? Let's lean into where those areas are within the body and get any messages that the body is trying to communicate to us. And typically, the messages fall within some of the themes that we were discussing that are associated with the energy centers. And so then that guides us into the energy center or the pathway that needs to release any discordant energy, which is no longer serving that person to their highest good.
mm. Interesting. You know, what we're seeing in a pattern with folks with the Parkinson's diagnosis is their third chakra and their fifth chakra. And with bringing that up, just, kind of off the cuff with you and knowing maybe what you know of neurodegeneration and Parkinson's, what comes up for you around that?
Well, I first want to say, Dr. Greg, that it's not uncommon to see themes in paired chakras. So I just talked about the control, autonomy, the individuation within the third, and the authentic expression of. And so I would venture to say that there is an innate desire, right? And within those that are perhaps experiencing Parkinson's and those that you've seen the combination of three and five, they have that desire to control that which exists within the physical body, but they're unable to deeply express their wants and their needs.
Yeah, interesting. Are you seeing more imbalances in any of the chakras than the others in your years of practice?
Well, I'll be honest with you. My greatest healing journey has been revolving around the themes of the first, second, and fifth chakra. So I seem to, because of my healing journey, I seem to attract people that are compromised in the space of the throat. And whether they have, the endocrine imbalances, hypo or hyperthyroidism, or Hashimoto's or any autoimmune disorders associated with the thyroid itself. So I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that and the inability to really trust and to ground down into one's own awareness. So that ability, Dr. Greg, I know you know what I'm talking about, to really sink into that slow, rhythmic, nutrient dense, organic energy of the earth. To know that Gaia is always ready, willing, and able to support and to nurture and to love and to caress you and to hold you. I don't think that enough of us really sink into that awareness, but it's so yummy when you finally do.
Oh, it so is. In fact, I've started doing a meditation that I call the well, which is totally tuning in, grounding, bringing up Gaia, Mother Earth, our home's energy up and exhaling out to the edges of the universe, bringing that back down into the heart and then sending our roots deep into our mother. And that healing, it's very healing energy. And sure, you could say this is totally woo-woo, which I don't think it is anymore, right? Because to think we've gone so far from our home of disconnect into the gray matter of our brains, thinking technology is gonna save us, chemistry is gonna save us. It's like, look, these are failed experiments. We've been on the planet for how long and we still have war? Like, we still have separation. We still have starvation, like all of these things. When do we tune in back? Like all roads lead to within and grounding that and acknowledging, there is one planet, one people here. And we wouldn't be here without this abundant ball hurling through, around in our solar system, around our sun. I mean, it's just miraculous that we're here, Dr. Mary, number one. And then we have this planet that is so self-giving, self-supporting, and abundant. Number two is, it's just mind-boggling. So I love that you bring it up really right there where it should be.
Yeah, as I listen to you talk about your meditation and from the clairsentient perspective of just feeling that energy come up from within and out into the expansive universe, and then to bring it back in and to contain it within the space of the heart. I can't wait to listen to that meditation. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, where do you wanna go from here? How do people ground and cleanse their energetic field? So, oftentimes, I'm seeing a lot of empathic people that don't know that they're empathic, and they have the ills of the world on them, and part of the education, or let's say of docere, doctor teacher, is letting them know, like, look, this is not your stuff to take on. And but they're not even aware of it, right? They're just
Right.
out there looking for the solution. And I'm like, well, wait, you actually have to go in there is where the solution is. It's not out here.
I completely agree 100%, and I see that as well. And typically, when I see people that are highly sensitive and empathic, they are compromised in an amount of excess of energy within the second chakra. And so they have the ability, consciously, unconsciously, unknowing or knowingly, will carry the emotions of other people, places, and things, thinking that they're doing them a service, right? Thinking that they're helping them. And essentially, what the opposite is happening, meaning that they're robbing the other individual of their journey. And when they take that energy in and hold it themselves, that's what I call an OPE, that's in other people's energy and other person's energy. And that does not serve you when you are looking to shine your brightest light. It will compromise the photonic emission, your light, your brilliance. And so one of the first things on a second from grounding, my suggestion in supporting people is to do neutral separations from people, places, and things that really do not serve you, and to clear those energies out of your energetic field, and then to bring them back in within the timing clock, close in the center of the cranium, to bring them into present time. Not leaning forward with anxiety, not leaning back with depression, but bringing them into present time consciousness, to the here and to the now.
Will you give us an example of doing that?
I'm gonna take it to a different level, and I'll keep this very brief, Dr. Greg. And you and I both see and treat and interact with people every day. And so in the evening, it serves us to ground down, to meditate into an expansive state. Then it serves us to create a bubble of all of the patients that we've seen throughout the day. All of the casual interactions that we've had, maybe at Whole Foods or the gas station, or a colleague that we may have ran into in the office. Maybe you have a separate bubble for your family. Maybe you have a separate bubble for all the things that are happening politically within the world. And so you can, in a very grounded and neutral place, you can then feel through the center of the palms, the psychometry, imagining that there is a bridge of energy or light that comes from you and into these individual bubbles. And you're literally just setting the intention to gift back your energy, gift the energy back to those people that you have interacted with that day. And when you're in this expanded state, you'll begin to see, sense, and feel their energy bubbles inflate. They'll get a little bit bigger. Like they're just happy that they received the gift, right? You see it every Christmas, you see it every birthday. Somebody gives you a gift, or you give somebody a gift, and they get like giddy and happy and joyous. And so then it's your right, Dr. Greg, to then, once they receive their gift in that same energy stream, to receive the energy that rightfully belongs to you. Then you get to inflate, you get to build yourself up, you get to replenish, and then you ground it back down to Mother Earth. for her to recycle, rejuvenate, recharge, re-cleanse, do whatever she does, her magic. So then there is a neutral separation. You're no longer carrying the energy which does not serve you.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I recently had my daughter called or, texted me saying, "Hey, my roommate just had kind of a yucky guy over. How do we clean the space?" And I asked her, I said, "Well, why is your roommate asking you?" She said, "Well, she knows I know these things." I was like, "Oh, okay. That's why you're asking me." Do you have certain techniques for people to clear their spaces or, they're just maybe feeling off and they just want to create a sanctuary for themselves?
Yeah, I do. And obviously, you're rubbing off on your daughter. Otherwise, she wouldn't be calling you and asking you these questions. So, when it comes to physical spaces, I like to ground my office or my condo or wherever I am. I like to ground the four corners of the space with pillars, protective pillars. And there's going to be like a pearlescent golden kind of marbleized gold threads that run within them. And then connecting these pillars with walls that are breathable with plants that can then absorb the oxygen, that can absorb the energy. And then obviously there gets to be like a cathedral ceiling, a topping to it. And then perhaps there's maybe like a fan or Herkimer diamond fan that can then send the energy back down or to absorb the negative energy. Now that sounds like a lot of steps and super heady for some people. So you could just simply burn some Palo Santo or burn some sage or burn some, it's so many different ways. You could just set the intention that you've cleansed the space and it's then clean.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for giving us 3 scenarios of what to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're gonna bring this one into the station. I'm wondering if there's any last parting words that you would like to share with our listeners and viewers.
Goodness gracious. My invitation for all those that are listening, that the energy, no pun intended, and I'm using that word intentionally, the energy that it takes to really create lasting, sustainable, and profound healing comes from a place of the parasympathetics, in a place where you're resting, you're digesting, you're relaxing, and allowing your central nervous system to be able to be uploaded into a new version of self. And it is entirely possible. And may the journey be blessed. May everybody's journey be blessed.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mary, for that. The intentions are, it is such a great reminder for folks that you have that sovereignty and that agency to take yourself to the well and fill your cup. So, it's really been awesome having you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. The honor's been mine. Thank you.
Folks, if you like today's show, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us some comments of what you are taking out of today's show. What are you going to implement? What are you going to put into action? What was an aha moment? I'd love to hear it. I'm reading those comments, so let's get interactive on the notes. Thank you all. We wouldn't be doing it without you. If you're finding this conversation insightful, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's a simple way to stay connected and get more strategies for optimizing brain function and longevity. Plus, it helps us bring you even more cutting-edge content. Thank you for being here. Now, let's get back to exploring the future of brain health. Thanks for joining us this week on the Brain Regen Lab podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to visit brainregen.com, where you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's conversation, we'd love for you to leave a review. It helps others discover the show. You can also share this episode with a friend or loved one who's passionate about brain health. Want to dive deeper? Check out our latest resources at brainregen.com/podcast. Be sure to tune in next week as we continue unlocking the secrets to a sharper mind and a longer, healthier life. Stay sharp, stay curious, and keep thriving.